Hey ChiBizHub community, my name is Jazmin Garcia and I'm really happy to be here today because as you can see, we're no longer doing these Zoom interviews. Chicago is reopened and so we're really excited to do live interviews with our small business community. And today I am joined by John Avila, who is the founder and chef of Minahasa Chicago. He's going to tell us all about what does that mean, what type of restaurant it is, and his incredible journey in where he is now, which is the Revival Food Hall here in downtown Chicago. If many of you are new in joining us to these interviews and spotlights that we do, ChiBizHub is the city's resource portal for our small business community looking for any resources to start, grow, or scale their business. So you can find all of that via our resource navigator on this digital portal online at ChiBizHub.com. Without further ado, I want to go ahead and thank you for being with us here today.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about what is Minahasa Chicago? What is your restaurant? Tell us about yourself. About your journey.
All right. So I'm John Avila, owner and chef of Minahasa. So how this all started was I used to be the chef at Gibson's Italia, and I was let go. So at that time, I didn't know what to do. I thought to myself, I should start my own thing, and I loved cooking my mom's food, or I love my mom's food, so I wanted to cook it for her and start a business together for her. So I started from my house, slowly scaling from doing dishes that I grew up eating from my favorites to stuff that I feel like Chicago should be educated on for Indonesian food. So I started delivering it from my house for lunch and dinner, to the city. And one day I delivered it to Steve Dolinsky, and he had my food and recommended me to be here at Revival Food Hall. And initially I started as a ghost kitchen, but since I was in Revival Food Hall, people started walking up to my stall, and I just started selling it as a stall, and then it just grew into what it is today.
That's amazing. Tell us a little bit more about, exactly what it was like. It's a very different environment. You're cooking in your house, just doing everything you have to do to deliver. I mean, you're the founder of this business. You're the chef of this business. You were delivering, I'm sure, at one point yourself. So you wore many hats, and that's the story for a lot of our small business owners in this community, right? So share a little bit more about, what it's been from that time of doing everything in your apartment to now being at Revival Food Hall. Have you hired a lot more employees? What does that look like, now that you've scaled?
Yeah, so I went from being a single employee to me to having about 6 employees now. It's basically everything that I'm doing now is just I've delegated my tasks to them. So they used to deliver, now I have a delivery system for it. I used to cook everything myself, so now I hired a cook that used to work for me at Gibson's Italia, and now I've grown him into someone that he wants to be. And yeah, it's just adapting to what's happening every day. You can't get comfortable. Every day is a little different, so you just have to roll with the punches and make it happen, really.
No, I feel that. So can you share with us, were there any organizations in the city of Chicago that helped you specifically along the way to kind of get to where you are now throughout this process? I
feel like the only organization that really helped was the Indonesian consulate.
Okay.
So their consul general, basically the person in charge of America here for Indonesia, he's a big fan of what I'm doing here. I think it's because I'm trying to reach out to the youth and to Chicago and not just my own specific community. I just want to share this with Chicago and
No, that's amazing. I mean, for many of you, I think I've shared this before, but ChiBizHub is actually an initiative of World Visit Chicago. And we work very closely with all of our consulates here. So that's good to know that you've been in touch with one of them and they were able to, assist you. They help small, medium, large size businesses here. So that's really good to know. On top of that, you're sharing, you have this organization that helped you can you also talk about, you know, a little bit more about what makes Indonesian food unique? I think in our conversations when I first got to know you, you mentioned Chicago doesn't really have this. So, you know, tell us exactly like what did you want to bring to Chicago? What is it? The experience? Is it through the food? What is it?
So I'm actually half Filipino and half Indonesian, and I know that Filipino food is starting to like take off in the city. And there was only one Indonesian restaurant prior to me, and closed down. So they were like a little bit from the older generation, so they didn't know how to like market it to Chicago. So I took it as an opportunity to like just educate Chicago about what Indonesian food is, so they don't mix it up with Malaysian food or Singaporean food. Also, it's my mom's cooking, and like everybody loves mom's food.
So what makes it different though? You're like, you don't want them to confuse it. Tell me like top 3 things that make Indonesian food different. It makes you remember.
So really, it's just like all the dishes are very similar, but there's just very small like differences with everything. So there's like a nasi lemak that's a Malaysian, but then we do nasi goreng, and that's also Malaysian, but it's like specifically to Indonesia.
Oh, nice. Those are good examples. I'm gonna make sure to pay attention to that as I'm eating the food. So we also wanted to make sure to interview you because you basically scaled your business in the middle of a pandemic. You know, I think that there's very few small business owners and just business owners in general throughout the pandemic that have this kind of part of their story, right? So can you share a little bit more about, you know, the unforeseen challenges that kind of happened throughout, and looking back, would you have done anything differently?
Looking back, I would have not done anything differently. I started with a small amount of money, and I just kept building that money, building it until I had the opportunity to move into here. Let's see, nothing really kept me from moving forward because I have a network that helps me grow like every step of the way. So I haven't really come across anything to slow me down, but the thing is you just have to have a network of people to help you scale to bigger places.
Talk about that. Talk about that network, because that was actually going to be my next question. You know, did you have any issues with resources to capital? Did you? I mean, obviously, site location wasn't. It was something that kind of, you know, a mix of like you brought great food to someone who knew someone, and so made it happen, right? But any other challenges? You know, maybe even with your business plan. I know a lot of business owners that work with ChiBizHub kind of wonder, like, my business plan, my financial plan. How do I get there? You know, and then hiring employees. You know, you were just sustaining yourself during the pandemic because you were everything, a jack of all trades. So kind of, you know, talk about your network and how did they help you in all those aspects?
Absolutely. So it all started from my friend Chris, who is also the owner of Classic Studios. He's one of my best friends for 20 years. He's been in the business, or been owning his own business for 10 to 12 years now, and he basically advised me on how to move and where to put my money and how to like just focus on yourself and just do the business really. And another person that really helped me out was Kevin Hickey. He was a Michelin star chef at Four Seasons, and he owns a Duck Inn down in Bridgeport. He's also another person that just pushed me to believe in myself and just do it, and like just take a dive. Don't put your foot in and take it out. Just dive in the pool and just do it.
I love that. A lot of the business owners that I talk to definitely share, you know, they take care of their community first, and then they're like, it just comes back to you, right? And that's amazing that you mentioned, you know, already knowing a business owner and getting advice from them. You know, they've been in business for X amount of time, and I know a lot of the business community that reaches out to ChiBizHub. You ask us, right, for mentoring associations. Oh, who can help me out? And it's always wanting to be connected to those people that kind of know the journey, right? And that's why it's important to get plugged in. So thank you for sharing that. So to kind of close us out, share a little bit more about looking ahead. What are the goals that you have for Minahasa Chicago? And, you know, what do you envision in terms of your success and potential growth?
So the end goal is to actually have a brick and mortar to this restaurant. I also do want to keep this property. With my partner that I have currently, we also opened up a grocery store that's all Indonesian food. So we supply our own restaurant with that. so we could cut out the middleman of importing. Yeah, really right now it's just trying to find the space and find the people and find the location of where it would thrive and like the demographic or even the target demographic of people who I want to show this food to. So.
No, those are all valid points though. I like what you said in your answer because that's everything if you want to scale right in a certain type of way of what you need to consider, right? The location, who's going to be your customer, right? How big, how much capital do you need, right? So that's everything you're covering right now in your future kind of vision for Minahasa Chicago. So yeah, I just want to thank you for interviewing with ChiBizHub, letting us share your story with the community. And hope anyone that's interested in sharing their story. I mean, reach out to ChiBizHub. We're actually here with everything that John covered. We're here to help you kind of find those answers. So thanks again for joining us, and thank you, John.
Absolutely. Thanks for your time.